Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Today, this is not going to be about the replay. We are going to be watching a replay of a battle that took place on my stream on Sunday night. I was playing a North Korean airborne deck, and because I got bullied into it by FJ, if you guys stop by the stream, you know who FJ is. He has his own Twitch channel. Very nice guy. I'd suggest going and checking him out, saying hi. I'll link him down below. Anyways, yeah, the actual gameplay is not going to be the focus of today. Today, I'm going to talk South African DLC. It's going to be a relatively short video. I just kind of want to bring up a couple of things that I think is interesting. So, South Africa as a country seems like it's going to be a very motorized, heavy country. Maybe very little track. It might not even be able to field a mech deck depending on what Eugen decides to give them in this kind of hypothetical, pseudo-realistic world that they tend to put their countries in. I mean, there are things in other countries that never really existed that they do have, and South Africa might wind up being one of those countries. They had a tank called the Tank Test Bed that was essentially on par with like the Leo 2A4, I think, and maybe the M1A2 or A1. I'm not really sure which version of the Abrams, but it would be a very high-end MBT for the period, literally on the cutting edge with completely indigenously made components, which I think is fantastic. It would be a really strong thing to add to a deck that I think is going to lack in armor. You're going to have plenty of armor, I think, on the IFEs and APCs, as it seems to be that even though South Africa makes motorized units, they seem to have a decent amount of armor because they kind of pioneered the mine-resistant vehicle in their country. And with that being the case, I have a feeling that we might see some 2 or 3 armored wheeled transports out of them. But as far as track transports, I don't know if we're going to really see a whole lot there. And I think it's going to pretty much mean that infantry overall for this for South Africa is going to be a little bit more expensive just because of this. Outside of outside of their infantry and their tanks, I do think that the air tab might be a little bit light. They have a pretty decent air force, but it's not going to be on par with the US or even Russia. It's not even going to be close. It might be a little bit closer to being on par with like Finland. This is purely speculation, and I could be completely wrong. There's definitely things they could do that would be stronger. Moving on from that, the vehicle tab for this country is going to be amazing. South Africa is going to have one of the strongest vehicle tabs in the game. They have several different concepts that are pretty much the Vickers Mark 11. A lot of their infantry transports have multiple variants that could perform multiple roles. They have an indigenously made ATGM that's going to be, I think, pretty much on par with the Spike NOLS that you get with Israel. We'll see how it gets implemented in the game, but it's going to be a fairly modern ATGM, which is going to be a rarity. We will still see the Milan and some other, I guess, more routine items, but as you start getting into the 80s and 90s with South Africa, you're going to see a lot more indigenously made items. I can't believe I pronounced that correctly on the first try. As far as what else to kind of expect from South Africa in this DLC coming forward, I do expect that we'll see some kind of a coalition involving the United Kingdom. I seriously doubt we'll see them just add a Commonwealth and make Commonwealth huge with a silly selection of units. So I think we might see like a UK South Africa alliance, or maybe some kind of a Commonwealth without the UK, even just have Canada, South Africa, and Anzac. There we go, brain. That would be, I think, fairly strong, because it seems like the one thing that's kind of missing if you're to have have Canada and Anzac would be a heavy tank, and you could definitely have a heavy tank with South Africa. The next thing that I kind of found out that could possibly happen, and can't say if it's a good thing or a bad thing, is there is a slight possibility that you could get an Israeli-South African alliance. They did technically have a military arms pact. It was a very light pact. It wasn't really anything too crazy. It wasn't that strong, but it was still a military pact that they did have, and that could create one of the most broken, overpowered factions in the game. More broken than Baltic Front. But it is something that I think Eugen could reasonably explain away and add to the game. And that would fix probably some of the big issues that Israel has. You wouldn't get any good long-range AA, I don't think, out of South Africa. But you get some good supporting units, some good MLRS, some good tube artillery. I know Israel already has that, but it would give you more options. You'd get good wheeled infantry, which Israel almost completely lacks. It's really more that the infantry transports aren't very good, but you will get some fantastic ones with South Africa. The vehicle tab just becomes that much stronger. The helicopter tab will gain a really good gunship that maybe will have AA missiles to replace the Tefa E. We'll see what happens, but I mean, if they were to combine these two DLC countries together, you could end up with one of the most broken factions in the game. Part of me wants to see it because it'd be grossly overpowered and it'd be probably a lot of fun to play, but another part of me really doesn't want to see it because that would probably become the meta and the only thing that you ever see in the game. So anyways, short replay, short video. I really appreciate you guys for coming by, checking it out. It's just me rambling for a little bit. But anyways, I'd love to hear what you guys think about it in the comments. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll catch y'all later.